It had to be constructed by transporting workers and the material. Rock makes built that indicates where rock removal was required. The Awa Cayente Bandicoot Indians, since their banks show wild great rocks. Or south, top of the tower, you can see a 16 by 16-foot yellow helicopter platform.
They are small trails off the main trail, and these darker lines are all the main trails.
Okay.
And what they do is they lead to individual camp spots.
Okay.
So in order for you to find one, you'll see these little trails that are bordered by, small deadfalls and rocks and things like that.
Yeah.
Just follow one up and you'll be able to find it.
Wow. Okay.
They're all open.
Morning everybody, Catherine here. Welcome back to my channel. I am on my first backpacking trip of 2018 and it is only February, so this is the earliest start to a backpacking season that I have gotten on. And it's going to be a short hike. I'm up in the San Jacinto Range. I met my niece Christine down at the bottom of the hill and we took the tram up to about 8,000 feet-ish, somewhere around that area. We are going to hike about another 600 feet to our campground, the Tamarack Campground, where we will drop most of our gear and set up camp, and then we plan to summit Mount San Jacinto. It is still winter, so the temperatures are probably going to be pretty chilly here this weekend. The highs are in the 30s, lows are in the teens, so we are really packed up on warm gear, and also the water situation here is unreliable, so we had to carry in a lot of water. I've got 4 liters of water on me. My pack weighs about 34 pounds, so it's pretty heavy, but it's good training for getting the season going. So I'm gonna call my niece over to say hi. You haven't seen her in a while. Hi! Christine is with This Girl Hike. She has her own channel, so I'll go ahead and link that below. How you feeling, Christine?
I am so excited to be out here for our first trip of the year. It's really more of a pre-season hike. We've been warned about a lot of ice on the trail, but we're looking forward to the challenges that this presents.
Yeah, we have our micro spikes, and we're telling everybody actually that gets on this trail to wear micro spikes. We've already encountered some ice, and it's going to be quite slick, but we're looking forward to it. It should be a fun overnight adventure. Come along! Let's go! Time to put on these bad boys. We hear there's ice on the trail coming up. And we also heard some people have fallen and broken bones recently, so they're recommending that everyone put these on. So he was absolutely right when he said after the second bridge we would hit ice. We would hit ice and snow, so we're grateful for all the information he gave us. He gave us some solid information. So we got the spikes on and we should be good to go. I'm actually not hiking with my trekking poles this time. I am carrying the tripod that is holding my camera right now, so I'm experimenting with not using trekking poles. I'm going to see if I can try to get away from using them. This was a real good hike to do as my maiden voyage without them, since there's snow all on the ground. So it doesn't seem that bears are a big issue here, but we have been warned about the mountain lions. So far so good, guys. This is gorgeous out here. It reminds me of the Sierra. Got some snow, got some ice, and a little elevation gain. So we're somewhere around probably around 9,000 feet now. And then when we get to the top of San Jacinto, we will be above 10,000 feet. So I believe once we drop everything at camp, we're going to be hiking another 1,700 feet up. So onward. Getting pretty close to camp. We're on the Round Valley Loop. The wind is kicking up. Some pretty good gusts at times. So we might be experiencing a windy evening this evening. So we'll really have to stake our tents down. The guy down at the ranger station actually told us that as well. He said there's some blowdown we have to look out for, so we'll really have to check our surroundings, make sure we're not in danger of any dead trees falling on us, but you might be able to hear that wind. It's going pretty good. Some big trees come down right here. $9,100 feet. Looks like we found our campsite, so we are going to get camp set up, load off some of this stuff. The packs are heavy, like I said, carrying an extra 6 pounds in water that I normally would not carry. So looking forward to loading that off. We have a little spot here that's kind of sheltered in the rocks, so hopefully that will protect us from some of the wind. And excited to be here. The hike up wasn't too bad. Really, really pretty. Snow. It's just some dry areas. Quite a few people up here. A little more than I thought. All day hikers though. I haven't seen any backpackers. So we heard that there was one other person within this campground. This is the Tamarack Campground, if I haven't mentioned that. And yeah, we heard there's one other person and it's just us. Oh boy, I just noticed a whole load of firewood there, but no fires. We found that out, so it's kind of a bummer. So I guess we'll be getting to our tents early tonight, but happy to be in nature, happy to have the backpack back on. Sitting down for a little snack break, a little lunch break. Christine hauled herself in a nice sandwich. Jimmy John, right?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's. Nice treat. I'm having a tortilla with pepperoni and sharp cheddar cheese. It's cold. It's actually core temperature dropped a bit, after we stopped hiking. We still need to set up our tents and dump off some of the stuff out of our packs, and then it's time to climb the peak. Setting up camp proved to be a bit of a challenge with the wind. My tent just kept blowing away. We were hitting rock, getting those stakes in, and they just weren't digging deep enough into the ground. So Christine's going to stay back here, and I moved my tent just in front of us. It's pretty staked down, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that while we're gone, it stays put. I threw some stuff in there, might throw a few rocks in there just to add a little extra weight. And hopefully it'll stay secure. These gusts are pretty strong. So anyways, we spent a lot of time doing that, so we want to get on the trail again. So there's my tent now, set up across the way. I'll be scared because I won't be so close to Christine during the night. But yeah, it's going to be a lot better to actually be secure into the ground. Christine just marked the map so that the rangers know what spot we're in. Our spot is called Buckthorn. All right, we're off to summit this beast. Woo! Getting quite a bit of snow here. It's really pretty. Definitely feeling the elevation coming from sea level. And I'm actually still getting over a cold, so it's taking a lot out of me, but I want to do this. So we're walking on ice. Still have the micro spikes on, but this is not easy. kind of acclimate and climb this mountain. It's a beautiful view from up here. It's beautiful up here. This is Wellman's Divide. Just look at that gorgeous view. Wow. So Christine was just telling me the Pacific Crest Trail comes like kind of along that ridge line that you see there, and eventually comes up through here, through the San Jacinto area. That view is just incredible. How awesome is this, guys? So beautiful. Ooh, look at the bird. Guys, we have reached Wellman's Divide, and we intended to summit Mount San Jacinto, but we actually are not going to do that today. We've decided to do it in the morning for a number of reasons. For one thing, it is already 2:30. And we really want to take our time. We want to be able to go up there and just relax. And it's very windy today, and we hear that it's incredibly windy up there. Today the winds are supposed to be 16 miles per hour, and tomorrow they're only supposed to be 4. So I think it'll be a lot less windy. Also, it will give us time to acclimate to the elevation. I'm definitely not acclimated at this point, and I'm still recovering from being sick last weekend, so I think that I will feel a lot better in the morning, and I tend to have a lot more energy in the morning since I've had this sickness. So I think that is just a much better idea. Also, we don't want to be going down, back down to camp in the dark, and we might actually change our campsite. So just to get to a spot that's less windy. I actually saw a spot that looked a little bit better, so we might do that as well, and that will give us time to do that. So absolutely stunning up here. And also another plus is it will give us more exercise because we'll be coming back up the area that we just did. So you know, it's all good. We'll have a good time down at camp this evening, and nice cold evening, and head back up in the morning. So we made it back to camp, and we are contemplating moving our tents down here to this little spot behind me. One of the issues that we have up there is the winds whipping through, whereas it feels like it's a little bit more protected down here. But also another issue that we had up there was that we couldn't get our stakes in the ground because we're hitting rock. And so when the wind comes, there's nothing really securing this tent. So Christine just grabbed a stake and she poked it in the ground. What'd you find, Christine? I'm gonna jump in that shot here.
I think it's gonna work. I got a few good pokes at each site, so I think we're gonna be able to move and be a lot more comfortable here. My tent almost flew away while we were gone. Good thing I had so much stuff in it.
Yeah, and mine did pick up when we were trying to set it up. I think I'll probably have inserted a shot from my time lapse to show you guys the tent flying off. So yeah, it's only going to take us a couple minutes to relocate, and I think we'll be happier down here with a little bit less wind. We'll still hear it, but I think our tents will be a little bit more protected. So
let's do it.
Let's do it! Okay, so we have our tents resituated, and yeah, it's a lot less windy down here, so I'm glad we did this. I think we'll sleep a lot better tonight. We're a little bit more protected from the wind. That's Christine's tent. She has an REI-2. I used to have that tent. It's a really awesome 2-person tent. REI doesn't make it anymore. I love it. It's very roomy inside. It has a lot of headroom, and it's very lightweight. It only weighs... What does your tent weigh, Christine?
Just under 3 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good tent. It was a really good tent. Mine, I think, is just weighs a little less, but it is smaller, and I have the big Agnes Fly Creek UL2, which I've mentioned many times. So we have this really cool little seating area to cook our meal tonight. And I'm gonna have a warm meal, and I can't wait for that. Christine's like dancing on the snow in front of me, making me laugh. So, she's practically ice skating over there. Anyways, she's ready to heck a snowball at me.
That's for trying to kill me.
Anyways, it feels good to be at camp early. I'm glad we actually got down here a little bit earlier, and now we can enjoy it. There's a little fire ring here. We're not allowed to have fires, but cool little area to sit down and have our dinner and our breakfast in the morning. And I am going to be trying out my new sleeping pad tonight. My Thermarest Neo Air X-Therm Max. So it's a R rating of 5.7. I hear it's the warmest sleeping pad on the market, so it's going to be a good test tonight because it's cold. I mean, I don't have my jacket on right now, but I'm guessing it's in the 20s probably by now, and I think in the morning it's going to be in the teens. So I'll be glad I had it, and it actually fits under my sleeping bag better. My sleeping bag is made for a rectangular pad to be inserted into it. It has no bottom, and I've been using a mummy shaped pad, so I think that I've still been getting cold. Air's been escaping through the bottom, so I'm hoping that that solves that problem. Oh my God, it is hard.
Don't you?
Can't even make a snowball out of it. Darn it! I was gonna try to get ya.
Like ice.
Got my tent all ready to go, my sleeping pads inflated, and my sleeping inserted into my sleeping bag, and it's all cozy and ready for me to climb into in just a little while. We're probably going to have dinner here in just a couple of minutes, and it's just been really nice. A beautiful day with my niece. I love doing these adventures with her. It's been a while since we've gotten to get out here together, and it's just been really enjoyable. So I do like to spend time with her when I can, and what better way to enjoy time together than out here in the great outdoors. So it's a beautiful night. Sun's already dipped back behind the mountain. It's getting quite chilly. Definitely made the right call moving down to this spot, and about to get dinner going. So it's been a great day. Got my food going. It's getting dark, so I'm going to say goodnight right here, and we will see you in the morning. Thank you for joining me on day one. We'll see you bright and early. Good night. From day two. We survived the night. I don't think either of us slept very well. I know for me, I tossed and turned a lot. My hips were feeling a little bit sore, so it was kept having to move from one side to the other. Out of backpacking shape, but just a little bit. But this is really good. Good refresher to get back into it. It's a beautiful morning here. The sun is shining. I don't think it got nearly as cold as what they were predicting it would be. Our water didn't freeze over. I was relatively warm and comfy in my tent, and it wasn't freezing this morning. The sun on my back feels amazing right now. I was feeling a little bit woozy this morning, and I think that I am feeling just a tiny touch of altitude sickness. As I might have mentioned yesterday, I've just been getting over a cold, and I'm not completely over it, so I think my body's just not at 100% level that it normally is. Normally I don't feel any sort of altitude sickness. I'm really good with that, but it feels just a little bit woozy today. But I did bring some Tums with me, so I just ate some of those, and I think that's going to help. And we're going to attempt to summit this San Jacinto Peak. I'm going to go for it. I brought a smaller pack, so I'm going to go ahead and just take the smaller pack and leave all my other gear down here. Hopefully that'll help us to get up there a little quicker. I'm not going to refilm the segment that we already climbed yesterday, and I think we went up about a mile or so. So from about 9,100 feet to 9,700 feet. And then once we get back up to that portion that we saw the vistas at yesterday, we have, I believe, another about 1,600 feet to get to the summit, and that's in 2 miles. So it's going to be about 800 feet per mile. And I don't know, it feels nice and warm today. The wind died down. Thank goodness the wind died down. We really didn't have any wind overnight, so I would hear a gust occasionally. It was just calm, and that was really nice. And I think today they predicted winds of only about 4 miles per hour, so we should be good. So we've already had our coffee, we've already had our oatmeal. We're just gonna get ready to kind of tear everything down, and we'll stash it away, and then we'll start our ascent up to San Jacinto Peak. Alright guys, we climbed back up to Wellman's Divide, and now we're getting ready to summit Mount San Jacinto. It's beautiful. It's a little bit more windy here on this side, but it's gorgeous. We made a lot better time coming up this morning because we didn't stop to film, and we want to get going and get moving though while our muscles are still warm, and we don't want to cool down too much, so we will see you along the way. Alright, 2.3 miles straight up. How you doing, Christine? How'd you feel about last night?
Oh, it was very, very cold last night, but I'm glad I prepared as well as I did for it, because I personally wasn't really that cold. Sometimes I get a little chill here and there, and if there was a little gap in my sleeping bag at all, I was like, there's a gap, close the gap, it's freezing. So I know it was really, really cold outside, but I'm glad the wind died down. However, I still didn't get a very restful night's sleep.
I know, neither of us did, but
I think I was like cinched down so tight in everything that I like couldn't move.
you were mummified.
Mummified.
Here's our view, you guys. We're hardly gone. Oh. Christine sees the tram. I don't see it, but oh, there's a station, yeah. Okay, so the tram station's right there where those little rocks jut out. So that's where we need to get back to get out of here.
Joshua tree.
Oh, Joshua trees in the distance, and you might wonder, we do still have our micro spikes on because we are hitting very icy patches. So we just left them on. Hitting these icy patches of trail. Well, as you can see, we hit quite a bit of snow, so it's cooled off a little bit. We took some layers off, but we have a nice cool breeze coming through, and it's really beautiful up here. Sorry about the planes. These things fly by like constantly up here. I know it's a military type jet, but I don't see it. Anyways, off we go. Some beautiful vistas up here. We have less than a mile to go until we get to the junction to the peak. Now you can really see the desert floor. Gorgeous. Lots of snow up there still. And the view keeps getting more expansive. So beautiful. We're up here, that's for sure. I can feel it too. We're almost there. Yes. Christine's trying not to slip in the snow. 3/10 of a mile to the peak. Woohoo! We made it to the hut. Almost there. If you get stuck up here, some weather. Got some bunks. I'm filming, Christine, film me. Can I lay down right now? We made it. We made it. We made it. The higher I got, the more woozy I felt. So, proud of myself for actually doing this. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You might have noticed I didn't do my typical ending that I would do on a video. I had planned on shooting my ending when we got back to camp after we did the summit. However, I was not feeling good at all. And that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to shoot this little piece here at the end, kind of as a public service announcement. I screwed up, actually. I did not drink enough water, neither prior to the trip, the day prior, the actual first day hiking out, the evening of the first day, or the following day. And as you saw, I mentioned that I was feeling woozy. Well, I believe that I had a touch of altitude sickness, but I believe that that was exacerbated by the fact that I did not hydrate enough. I believe I was suffering from both dehydration and altitude sickness, and it actually made for a pretty miserable day on day 2. I mentioned it a couple of times in the video, but I was really feeling pretty horrible, guys. The hike out of there was a bit of a struggle. My symptoms were, nausea, shortness of breath. I didn't really have a headache, but I did feel a little bit disoriented at times, and right towards the end I did feel also a lack of somewhat coordination. And in reading symptoms of dehydration and altitude sickness, those are pretty typical symptoms. And also the fact that I did not sleep the night out in the backcountry, that is also a symptom of altitude sickness. So I wanted to get on here because I wanted just to stress the importance of drinking a lot of water. My issue is I have a teeny tiny bladder, so what I end up doing is thinking, well, if I drink too much water, I'm gonna have to keep pulling off the trail and going to the bathroom, or I'm gonna have to get out of my tent in the middle of the night and have to go pee several times, and I don't wanna do that. And I've never actually suffered altitude sickness before, and I've been in the Sierra many times, and I guess I just kind of felt like I was invincible and maybe immune to it, but ha ha ha, the joke's on me, because I definitely am not immune to it, and I was definitely suffering from it during this trip. So learn from me, folks. Do as I say, not as I do, and camel up on your water the day prior, all through your hike, the evening, any evening that you're in the backcountry. Make sure you get a lot of water in your system, and don't do what I did. It could have been a lot worse, actually. I'm really interested to hear if you any of you have any stories with dealing with altitude sickness, what you did, or just hear your story in general, go ahead and comment below. I'd love to hear about it. And all's well that ends well. It was a great trip. It's funny, I was thinking, even your worst day backpacking is better than sitting in front of the television set. So it was great. And I did also want to mention I have a lot more exciting backpacking trips coming up. I do have a backpacking trip scheduled every month through through July actually, and my first one will be in the Grand Canyon in mid-March. So definitely stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. A lot more backpacking this year than what you've seen in prior years. So stay tuned. I appreciate you all watching. Drink your water, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.